Yo, 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 welcome back, Destination Devy fam. You know who it is. It is your host, Ray GQ, Ray Garvin. I am joined by my partner in crime, Jordan Richards. We are excited today because right now it is the heart of not only rookie draft season, but it's dynasty startup season. So, I mean, there are mock drafts, regular drafts, auctions, all kinds of stuff going on. No training camp, no mini camp. Well, I don't know if we're going to have training camp or not, but the point is we are drafting these players for our teams. And right now throughout the fantasy space, every mock draft that you normally see is just rookie related. And, you know, we talk about the top guys in the 2020 class. We know CEH and Jonathan Taylor, blah, 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 blah. But when you start slotting them in with 2019 guys, when you start thinking about next year's crop of guys, that's where things really get interesting, and we really can start to have a debate, some dialogue or conversation about what we would do on the clock with these players available to us. So we are going to do a 2019, a 2020, and a 2021 combined Superflex mock draft. And Jordan doesn't know this. He doesn't know this. Normally when people do this, they take the landing spot out of the equation. They take all of this stuff out of the equation and just say, let's draft these guys how we had them ranked as prospects coming out. No. We are taking landing spot into consideration. We are taking what they did last year as rookies for the 2019 players. So A.J. Brown, Kyler Murray, DK Metcalf, Josh Jacobs, whatever they did last year, that factors in, because when we're in our rookie drafts, we're not, or in our dynasty startups, we're not saying, well, based off of them as prospect. No, DK Metcalf was a beast last year. A.J. Brown was a beast. So we do factor that in to our draft day decisions. So for this exercise, landing spot, draft capital, production, all of that matters. However you want to make your pick, that's how you choose to make your pick. So again, Superflex, PPR, we're going to go 2-3 rounds. We will save a lot of the 2020 commentary in particular about the prospect, but we will talk about why we selected said 2020 or 2021 player or 2019 over the 2020 class, or however we want to do it. So, Jay, you with me? You understand what we're doing here, right?
Yeah, man, I'm good. I mean, that was a bit of a long intro, Superflex, 3 separate draft classes. It's kind of like this is going to be your cornerstone players, right? And these are the guys that you want to be drafting high in your rookie drafts, or got drafted high in the rookie drafts that you hope can be your dynasty staples for the next 5 to 10 years, depending on whether they're a running back, quarterback, wide receiver, right? And so this will definitely be interesting. And obviously last time I had the one-on-one, so I'm going to have to toss that over to you this time around. And so to me, this is an easy decision, but I guess we'll see kind of which way you go. This will be a doozy for sure. I'm really excited about this.
Yeah, and before we get started, man, drop the intro.
You got barbecue back there, and you didn't invite me. Hurt my feelings.
All right, and for this exercise, I am going to use the cornerstone rankings that DLF has on their site. So they do a really good job of combining 3-4 years out, or combining draft classes to compile these cornerstone rankings. So 101 here, 2019, 2020, 2021. I am going with Kyler Murray as my 101, the quarterback from the Arizona Cardinals. I think that it's an easy decision for me. We saw what he did as a rookie with Cliff Kingsbury. You add Kenyon Drake for a full year to the fold. You add, DeAndre Hopkins, another year of experience. So in Superflex formats, I know a lot of the conversation in rookie drafts is fade quarterback, grab your stud. But if I were starting off right now, I want Kyler Murray over Trevor Lawrence. I want him over Joe Burrow, over Tua. So for me, at the 101 spot, Kyler Murray was a lock pick. Excited to grab him and add him to the roster.
Yeah, bro. To me, that was like the biggest slam dunk. I know when you even brought this idea to me, I was like, Kyler Murray and then everybody else, because you see that guy going in the first round of Superflex startups right now. I see him go as high as 102 right behind Patrick Mahomes. To me, that's an absolute slam dunk play. Now, with the 102, it's a little bit trickier, but for me, it's not all that difficult. I'm taking Joe Burrow first-round pick this year to the Cincinnati Bengals. And really the only reason why I would take him over a Justin Fields, over a Trevor Lawrence, is because I know where he's going to play. I know who his weapons are. I know who his coach is. I kind of have an idea as to what to expect from him going forward. His excellent college season was great. It's now over. We don't know what's going to happen to Trevor Lawrence. We don't know what's going to happen to Justin Fields. And obviously Tua has his own injury issues. But as far as Joe Burrow goes, to me, he's a slam dunk pick here at 102. I know who his weapons are. I know who his coach is. And I think they're going to be a much better offense this year than they were last year in Cincinnati.
All right. And here's the thing. And this is where I always run into when I'm giving my Devy ranks. I go back and forth. Do I rank the player who is probably going to come out and enter into the NFL draft higher than I do a Sam Howell or George Pickens, who's still 2 and maybe even 3 years removed from the NFL draft, even if I like the talent more, right? Like, to me, there's no question that George Pickens is a more talented wide receiver than Devonta Smith. But George Pickens isn't even eligible until 2022, whereas Devonta Smith, Tamarion Terry, they're coming out in 2021. So I really struggle with that with my Devy rankings. But I can't argue the Joe Burrow pick here, and that would leave me with Sunshine at 103. Trevor Lawrence, I would take him. I think he's the best quarterback prospect that we've seen in a very long time. I know a lot of people say Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning, whatever the case, however you want to say it. There's hot takes or there's new breaking information that he's a better prospect than Joe Burrow. Who the hell didn't think that coming into the season? I think Trevor Lawrence is a stud. He can run the ball. He's athletic. He's deadly accurate. He's got crazy arm strength, and he's got that prototypical size. So here, if I were doing a combined startup and I was able to land Trevor Lawrence at the 103, I would be absolutely ecstatic. So Trevor Lawrence is my lock pick here at 103.
All right, so that takes me to the 104, where I'm going to go with the Miami quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. And it's interesting that you decided to take Trevor Lawrence. And I just wanted to kind of make a little point to you here is that how do you feel about Miami going into 2021 when you would actually have Trevor Lawrence on that roster? And that's kind of where I struggled, whether I put Tua above Fields and Lawrence or I keep him behind, because for 2020, he's not looking the best, right? We don't know how much he's going to play. We don't know what they're going to limit him to. And the weapons aren't questionable, but I'm expecting 2021 to be a big improvement weapons-wise, a big improvement talent-wise on that Miami roster. And for me, that's a reason why I would take Tua over those guys. I know where he's going to play. I'm expecting them to improve, do kind of what they did for Baker, right, after his rookie season, get him some weapons. Now what they're doing with Joe Burrow. And I think they're going to do the same thing in Miami next year, load up on some receivers, which we already know there's a ton of talent there, potentially grab a running back because I didn't this year. And that'll elevate Tua potentially over some of these guys, even though the talent is very, very similar. We don't know where those guys will end up, and we don't know who they're going to be playing with.
Yeah, I didn't think you would go Tua. I don't know if I would have taken him this early in this format, but I can't argue the pick, right? You know, it's quarterback at the top. It's a super flex format. And I like everything that Miami's doing to build around Tua. But right here at the 105, I am going to dive into my philosophy, what I like to do in startup drafts because of position scarcity. And the running back position is fragile. It's volatile. And I'm going to go CEH. I'm taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm taking CEH. I think that there are very rare occasions where all the stars seem to align for a particular prospect. And I truly believe that everything lined up perfectly for Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I know a lot of people talk about, well, he played with one of the greatest offenses in college football history, or the greatest offense in college football history. He had Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Well, he goes to Kansas City with one of the greatest offensive play callers in Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. I mean, he's almost transitioning from LSU college to LSU of the pros. And regardless if he is the top guy this year from day one, his skill set is going to allow him to continue to play in the NFL for a long time, is that pass catching running back who's very elusive, doesn't lend himself to a lot of big hits. So right here at the 105 spot, again, 2019, 2020, 2021. I know there's some other names, but I'm going with CEH right here at the 105.
Yeah, I really like that pick, but I am a little bit interested that you took him because I know Justin Fields is your boy, and that's who I'm going to take at 106. I got to stay true to Superflex, and even though Justin Fields isn't coming out for another year, I know he's going to be an absolute dynamite stud once he gets there. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is obviously, he's like a top 12 first-round dynasty startup pick right now. We all know about the fit. We all know about the situation. But I think as far as future production goes, I don't see how Justin Fields isn't a top 12 quarterback right out of college, which would obviously trump the value of Clyde potentially. And we don't know how they're going to be used. We assume Clyde's going to be the guy. And I think he's going to be fantastic. But I'm really curious to see how Justin Fields transitions to the NFL. But I think he's going to be an absolute dynamite stud. A la Cam Newton, that's exactly what everyone saw in college. Whether he was at Georgia, whether he's at Ohio State, the kid's going to be a stud. And I think I have to roll with my board here and take Justin Fields.
All right. Don't hate it. I'm a big Justin Fields fan, and I'm seeing stuff right now. It blows my mind that people are ranking Trey Lance above Justin Fields. I'm a Trey Lance fan. I think he's got a lot of talent. I think he's a good player. I think he's got the chance to be, a first-round pick at the NFL draft level next year if he comes out. But there's no way in hell I'm taking him before I take Justin Fields. He was a Heisman Trophy finalist. Everybody talks about Lance's, 24 touchdown passes or 28 touchdown passes, 0 interceptions. I think Justin Fields had 40 touchdown passes and like 1 interception. So, or 2 interceptions. I think in the college football playoff game, he threw 2. But it just blows my mind. But 106, love it. 107, I'm going with A.J. Brown, the wide receiver from the Tennessee Titans right here. He's what, Terrell Owens / or whatever the hell you want to say. He's an absolute rock star. 55 receptions, 1,051 yards, and average 20.2 yards of reception with 8 touchdowns. I know there's going to be some regression. He had a lot of long touchdowns last year, but he is the guy in Tennessee. Ryan Tannehill is back. He's going to be the go-to receiver, and to be his size at 6 foot, 230 pounds to move I didn't think he was that fast. I was like, he's not that fast, but he is, right? He's like the same thing I say about CeeDee Lamb all the time. But right here, I've got my quarterbacks locked into place. I got my running back, and right here at the 107, I feel really good about A.J. Brown, and I know there are some other players that at least one of them will fall to me at my next pick, but I think that dynasty owners getting A.J. Brown, this type of receiver, he's a top 5 dynasty wide receiver for me. I could see that potential for him, right? Like not right now, currently top 5 dynasty wide receiver, but I think that is definitely on the horizon for a player like A.J. Brown.
Yeah, man, absolutely. And what's crazy is that you look at his production in college and it was like 1,000. Then he comes to the pros and it's the same thing. Like he's easily one of the most consistent wide receivers I've ever seen because it doesn't matter what situation he's thrown in. It doesn't matter what's going on. He produces. He had DK Metcalf beside him, who people still rate. Some people will still rate DK Metcalf over AJ Brown, which I think is absolutely insane. They play on the same team. One was more dominant than the other. And to me, it's AJ Brown all day, every day.
I don't know if it's that insane now. DK is a beast, man. People got to get over that combine shit and his 3 DK is a beast, and he's a beast playing with a Hall of Fame quarterback in his prime. So as great as A.J. Brown is, I think people really sleep on what DK did in 2019. And according to DLF, he's ranked as a top 12 dynasty wide receiver right now. So I get what you're saying about A.J. Brown, but I don't think it is head and shoulders above DK Metcalf. People that bias is still attached to his name, and people got to get rid of that stigma. I mean, he's playing with Russell Wilson, for Christ's sake.
I know, but the thing is, for me at least, I think people attribute the success to DK's talent more than to Russell Wilson. People look at balls and you see, like, to me, Russell Wilson is probably my favorite quarterback to watch in the entire league. I watch that guy week in, week out, and I don't know how people can say that it's DK Metcalf making the plays when you see Russell Wilson drop it in the bucket 30 yards down the field. You know what I'm saying? And that to me is the difference. Obviously, AJ Brown doesn't have Ryan Tannehill to Russell Wilson is a big gap, but I think A.J. Brown's talent is just head and shoulders above what DK can do. That's just my opinion. But as far as my next pick, which I believe is the 108.
Yep.
Yeah. So 108, to me, this is a ridiculous that even slipped this far. But with all these quarterbacks, you have to take them. But it's Miles Sanders, running back for the Philadelphia Eagles. And really, it's just because when you look at the draft and what happened, he's going to be the guy basically for sure, even though it's a little bit uncustomary for Philadelphia to have a lead running back that's a bell cow back. His production in the second half of the season, I believe it was in the top 6 overall of all running backs, and he's going to be an absolute stud this year. He's probably going to be ranked in a lot of people's top 5, top 10 running backs for the season, and he rightfully should be because his pass catching is just unmatched. And sitting behind Saquon Barkley, he didn't get the respect he deserved at Penn State, but now in the NFL playing for the Eagles, I think he's going to be a really big weapon, and I think he truly could be the second or third leading receiver behind Jalen Reagor for the Philadelphia Eagles in 2020.
Man, I was seriously considering Miles Sanders with my next pick. I love it, man. And I'm somebody who wasn't as high on Miles Sanders coming out of Penn State, but I'm definitely a believer. He's got that 3-down skill set. He's talented. They've shipped Jordan Howard. He's gone. So they've committed to Miles Sanders being a focal point of that offense. And I think that you're looking at, Philly wants to get that speed. So you got Miles Sanders and Carson Wentz and Dallas Goedert and Jalen Reagor. It's a nice building core, a nice foundation for the Eagles. So I don't hate it at 108. But that leaves me with my number 1 ranked player in the 2021 class here at 109, and I'm going to take LSU's rising junior Ja'Marr Chase, Blitnikoff Award winner last year as the nation's top receiver, over 1,700 receiving yards, 20 touchdowns. This guy. What's crazy about Ja'Marr Chase is, and I'm going to do a show, probably not this week, but next week, where I'm just talking about LSU and my thoughts about the entire 2019 LSU Tigers season and team, because there are a lot of interesting dynamics that kind of happen with that squad. Chase really didn't do anything as a true freshman. He was kind of non-existent, right? And then he burst onto the scene this year and completely skyrockets his stock. Jay and I are in a Destination Devy listener league. Ja'Marr Chase was a few picks from going undrafted with sharp analysts who participate in Devy. Like, he almost went undrafted last year in the summer in our Devy startup. And
it still hurts, bro. It still fucking hurts.
We all passed him up. How many rounds was that?
That was a 4-round, and I remember I traded my 4th pick, and the guy who took my pick took Rashod Bateman, and he went over Ja'Marr Chase even.
Yeah, people weren't even on Ja'Marr Chase like that, so his rise has been astronomical. But here, amongst all these talented young players, Ja'Marr Chase is still a first-round pick. I wouldn't take him over A.J. Brown. I'm not taking him over Miles Sanders. We've seen what they've done, what they've produced, and I'm not taking him over some of these quarterbacks. Now, me personally, I probably would have taken him over Tua and Justin Fields, but right here at the 109 spot, I feel very comfortable taking Ja'Marr Chase, who I think, even with regression that is going to inevitably happen this 2020 season, if we have one, the talent is there. The production is already locked in as that sophomore season, and I'd be more than happy to have him here at that 109 spot.
Yeah, man, he's a great pick, but I am fearful for him, not because of the talent, but because of what we saw happen to Rondale Moore, what we saw happen to Jerry Jeudy. And I don't think it's talent. I just think it's expectations for people. People expect the world these guys after coming off of a historically great season. And I'm just really curious how it's going to play out for Chase, and especially losing Joe Burrow, losing Joe Brady. He may be in for a regression like some people just can't possibly even imagine, because we just don't know what's going to happen.
There's no doubt. There is going to be regression. Again, the greatest they've got Miles Brennan at quarterback, who might be very good, but he's not Joe Burrow. They lost Joe Brady. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is gone. Justin Jefferson. There's going to be regression. It's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to watch this play out, because Rashod Bateman is going to smash with Tanner Morgan. Rondale Moore is going to come back, and now they've got David Bell next to him. He's going to smash again. So I just wonder if people's stance will change a little bit. After, right now he's being called the greatest wide receiver prospect since Julio Jones. I'm not ready to say that yet. I think he's super good, uber talented, but I'm not going to go that far. But you're up 110. What you doing?
All right, 110, I'm going with my boy Jonathan Taylor, running back for the Indianapolis Colts. I think it's an absolute smash to take him here. He's going to be a great, great player at the next level. The only real concern is when are they going to give him the keys to the kingdom? They still have Marlon Mack there, and you're hearing it's going to be kind of a bit of a timeshare. And with reduced training camps, we don't know how long it's going to be until these players are in the building, and that could inhibit some of these rookies from taking over these spots earlier in the season than we expect. Even though they know Jonathan Taylor's great, he has to learn the system, he has to know protections, he has to know the scheme, and even behind that great O-line, he has to be able to produce. And if he doesn't know the system and he doesn't know what he has to do, it's going to be difficult for the Colts to run him out there if he's not sure. He's still a smart kid. He still knows what he's doing. He's still a great runner, but they have to have confidence in him and the system over a back who's already been there, I believe, for 3 years in Marlon Mack and produced. So I think it could be a little bit longer depending on how that shakes out for training camps. And that goes for all NFL teams, not just for Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to come in and just be the sole guy from day one. That's not, and truly in the NFL, you don't even need that to have an RB1 in fantasy. You don't need the running back to get 350 carries or whatever it is in order to be an RB1. I don't think Marlon Mack is going away, but they didn't move up in the draft to acquire Jonathan Taylor where they did for him to take some backseat to Marlon Mack. It might be one of those things where the veteran, the rookie's got to earn their stripes. And then by week 3, Jonathan Taylor's the full-fledged running back. And then Marlon Mack spelling him in pass-catching roles, and there's still Nyheim Hines. But I do love the pick. I would have taken him here at 111. But since you did make that selection, I am going to go with the player that I talked about a couple of minutes ago, and that's DK Metcalf, wide receiver from the Seattle Seahawks. So much criticism surrounding this kid coming into the NFL last year. So much negativity, so much just, pessimism because although he's a freak athlete, he didn't test well in the agility drills. He's not going to be able to separate. He has no problem doing a 6'3", 230 pounds and runs a 4.33 40-yard dash, and he's playing with a Hall of Fame quarterback. What more is there to say? 900 receiving yards last year, 7 TDs, 58 receptions, had 100 targets, played 16 games. I think the sky is the limit for DK Metcalf. I want him everywhere. I'm trying to acquire him everywhere. The dude is a freak talent playing with a Hall of Fame quarterback in his prime. Sign me up, DK Metcalf, here at the 111 spot.
Yeah, man, I can't argue that at all. And like I said, I'm not the biggest DK Metcalf fan. I wasn't from the process, and I don't want to say I didn't change my tune. I definitely changed my tune a little bit, but I still think it's more Russell Wilson than DK Metcalf. And Who
cares?
No, I agree with you. Who cares is right. But to me, I still don't. And I'm also a big fan of Tyler Lockett myself. Like, I think people are just writing off Tyler Lockett, assuming DK. But you can shake your head, but to me, it's just a lot easier to see a path for, like, if DK gets top coverage now over Tyler Lockett, why won't Tyler Lockett get the ball more? Because he'll be open more.
No. DK is the number one. DK is the number one in Seattle. And regardless if he's seeing top coverage or any of that, they scheme the best player of the ball. You could say the same thing about A.J. Brown. You could say the same thing. That's part of what comes along with being a number one, is you face top coverage. And if we're really playing that game, how many Darrelle Revises are out there and Stephon Gilmore? Who gives a shit if the who the hell is the NFC West? The 49ers.
Sherman.
Are you concerned about Sherman versus DK Metcalf?
No, not against Metcalf.
Okay, so when you're looking at, there are a select few elite lockdown corners in the NFL. I could care less. I don't care. Does that mean he has, and even if that is the case, so he has 1 or 2 bad games a season where he's wiped out, but everything else he's smashing. And even in those games, he's still going to get targets, because you know what Russell Wilson is thinking? I'm better than you are, and I'm going to give my guy a chance to make the play. So while I understand what you're saying, Tyler Lockett He's good at what he does. He's not a number one wide receiver. 6'4", 6'3", 235 pounds. That's the number one in Seattle. No concerns over top coverage or any of that shit. Give me DK Metcalf, but give me your pick here and round out the first round.
Next pick is going to be the running back for the Baltimore Ravens, J.K. Dobbins. And to me, J.K. Dobbins is just an elite talent. And I really don't see how in 2021 he's not the guy. People may have a little bit of concerns about Lamar Jackson taking some of his carries, potential passing down work, as I believe the Ravens were the lowest targeting team to the running back position. But once Mark Ingram leaves, I don't see how J.K. Dobbins isn't the absolute bell cow running back for that team. There may be another guy they bring in, or they just choose to keep Justice Hill there. But I think that J.K. Dobbins is going to be an absolute stud in 2021, like many are projecting. And he'll be running the same offense he ran at Ohio State. And it'll be really easy transition for him, especially if he gets that first year to kind of take that leap, learn the system, and then take off the following season.
You shocked me. I didn't expect you to go J.K. Dobbins, but I think it's a savvy move, man. Like, Gus Edwards had 700 yards last year with Mark Ingram. Like, the fact that people are thinking Mark Ingram is going to completely suppress J.K. Dobbins is completely misguided. J.K. is going to get his this year. It might not be RB2 numbers. Hell, it may not even be RB3 numbers, but he's going to play enough to where if you had to start him in a pinch, it may just be the week where he just goes ballistic, right? And he shows you what he's going to do in 2021. And I'm with you, man. I think as early as 2021, we could be talking about J.K. Dobbins being a top 10 running back in Dynasty and potentially even higher with some of those older backs, getting more mileage, accruing another year of service. So really love that pick to round out the top 12. And just for a recap for the people out there, Kyler Murray went 1. This is a combined 2019, 2020, 2021 rookie mock draft. No tight end premium. They're gross. We're not talking about tight ends. But Kyler Murray, Joe Burrow, Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Justin Fields were your top 6, followed by A.J. Brown, Miles Sanders, Jamar Chase, Jonathan Taylor, DK Metcalf, and J.K. Dobbins. So right here, I'm going to give you the pick. You kick us off at 201, back-to-back picks. You go, lead us off, 201 spot. What are you doing, Jay?
All right, so now the first round is over. I can start to get a little bit risky with my picks, and I know this one's going to surprise you, but to me, I think I have to go quarterback here, and so I'm going to go with Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones was a really disrespected quarterback coming out of the draft. He still got drafted high in the NFL draft, and honestly, I think it's hard to argue that he produced in the NFL. And now coming into his second season with a better offensive line after the Giants bolstered that, drafting, I believe it was Andrew Thomas at 4 overall. Then they're going to obviously still have Saquon Barkley for a full season, Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, Golden Tate, Darius Slayton. There's just so many guys that maybe aren't the most elite athletes, maybe aren't the most elite talents beyond obviously Saquon Barkley, but they can all get it done. They can all get open and they can all make plays for their quarterback. And I could see Daniel Jones being a really big riser coming into the 2020 season.
Man, you threw me for a loop. Like on the cornerstone rankings on DLF, Daniel Jones, I don't even see, he's not even in the top. I don't think he's in the top 60. Unless
I don't think he's in the list of what you sent me. I don't think he's even there.
He's not in. And yeah, man, Daniel Jones, definitely. I mean, dude, I don't have his stats pulled up in front of me, but I know there was somebody talking about, had he not been on the Giants, or like it was one of the most impressive rookie quarterback seasons that we had ever seen. And people were still disrespecting it. Listen, folks, if you take nothing away from this exercise, you've got to get these biases out of your head. Whatever the hell we thought about Gettleman and the Giants for taking Daniel Jones over whoever the hell they took Daniel Jones over last year, it's over and done with. Daniel Jones is good. Daniel Jones is good. They're surrounding him with pieces. Darius Slayton is up and coming. He's still got Saquon Barkley. They invested in offensive line. He can move. We talk about those dual threat quarterbacks, those Konami codes. Hey, he can provide that rushing upside. So I really love that pick, man. That's probably the right pick here at 201. At 202, I'm going to go Josh Jacobs, running back, Las Vegas Raiders. It's disappointing and discouraging that every move that the Raiders seem to be making this offseason is to find a running back that is going to take work from Josh Jacobs in the receiving game. That's all we're missing from Josh Jacobs. We just want him to catch the ball. Gruden, throw it to him. Throw it to him, please. But Josh Jacobs is a talented running back. And I mean, right here on the Cornerstone rankings for DLF, he's the 9th ranked player out of all of these guys. So to get him here at pick 14, essentially, 12, 13, 14, 14, I feel like I got a little bit of a steal. He's a good young back, fresh legs. Just wish he would get some more work in the receiving game. But right here at 202, I'm rolling with Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, man, that would have been my pick. If I didn't kind of just throw Daniel Jones out there into the wind, see what you thought about that. But at 203 here, I'm gonna have to go with my boy out of Georgia, DeAndre Swift. He's been getting a little bit of disrespect in the Dynasty community, going over to Detroit. They don't really know what his role is going to be. Is Kieran going to be involved? Is Swift going to be more involved? But I think he's going to get a lot of the passing work. I think 2021 is going to be the year that you see more from him. But I think what people need to realize too, and people have been commenting on our YouTube channel about this, is that he needs to be efficient to be a good running back, especially early on. But I think that was his strong suit, and it always has been. He never really got the lion's share of the carries in Georgia. He never really got the lion's share of anything, but he's still going to be a complimentary back as far as maybe his overall touches go. But he's always been efficient at every level, and so I don't see why that wouldn't continue. And his receiving work should definitely keep him at a high floor. And that's an easy reason why you want to take DeAndre Swift and maybe don't give him the disrespect that he's been seeing in some of these rookie drafts so far.
Man, really good point. He has been efficient. I mean, he's been efficient every single year because he's never had the backfield to himself. That's not how Georgia operates. You know, Kirby Smart came out and said, we will use multiple backs because we want our running backs to be healthy and have fresh legs when they go on to the NFL. So I think that was a hell of a pick. I am still very much on board with DeAndre Swift being an absolute stud at the next level. And the thing is, Matt Patricia is not guaranteed to be around for the next 3-4 years. So we very well may get a new coach in there who says, this is the guy we want to build around and feature around, not an aging Matt Stafford. Let's build around Swift. Let's build around Hockenson and Galladay. I think the arrow is pointed up on Swift, even with the Detroit landing spot. But right here at the 204, Dallas Cowboys' newest wide receiver, CeeDee Lamb, one of my top-ranked wide receivers in this class, actually just dropped a fantasy face-off video the other day with CeeDee Lamb versus Jalen Reagor. Both of those guys are my top 2 wide receivers in the 2020 class. There were a couple of guys that I was considering right here, but I think one of them is going to fall to me at my next pick. So CeeDee Lamb, 204.
Yeah, man. I'm honest, man. I'm gonna have to DM Jalen. I'll have to tell him that you actually took CeeDee Lamb over him. I can't believe you just did that.
I know.
So at 205, I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to take Jalen Reagor, the wide receiver from the Philadelphia Eagles. People are not realizing just who Jalen Reagor is. He's going to be an absolute stud, and he could lead the Philadelphia Eagles in receiving. That's a real possibility. And if I was a savvy player, which I think I'm pretty savvy. I don't know if you agree, but you could draft Jalen Reagor later in your rookie drafts, and maybe he has 2-3 good games. Maybe he goes Terry McLaurin and goes off for 150 yards in his first game. Trade him for CeeDee Lamb in a 2021 first, and I promise you will get the better end of that deal, no problem.
I screwed up. I meant to go Reagor. I fudged up there. I don't know. I blanked out. I saw CeeDee Lamb like 5 picks ago and like zeroed in. But yeah, Reagor's my wide receiver 1. I screwed up. But that's okay. I love the pick. And at 206, I am going to take a player that you just talked about. I'm taking Terry McLaurin, the number 1 wide receiver for the Washington Redskins. Listen, I saw what he did. This isn't like we're hoping that Lamb and Reagor and Chase become something at the next level. I know that Terry McLaurin was damn near a 1,000-yard receiver last year on a Washington Redskins team that was bad, that went through Case Keenum, and Dwayne Haskins was trying to figure it out. But they invested little draft capital in another wide receiver. That wide receiver played at Liberty. So the number 1, Jordan Reed, is gone. I don't know what they're doing in the backfield. The number 1 option on that offense is find ways to get Terry McLaurin the ball. I saw Ron Rivera do it with DJ Moore, and I'm confident that T-Mac at 6 foot, 210 pounds is going to become a 1,000-yard receiver. Love his game. And I think he's another one of those guys who, amongst rookie hype, you may be able to send an offer out there to get him for the 108. And if I had the choice between the 108 and Terry McLaurin, I'm probably taking Terry McLaurin, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man, I won't lie. That surprised me. And I think it just comes down to, like, a lot of your people don't necessarily know how I felt, but I've been on Terry McLaurin for so long, it seems like. I remember when I first scouted him, I watched this game against Michigan State, and all I saw was a guy who can just get open with absolute ease. And then he ran a 4.3 at the combine. And it's been really hard for me to see that ascension and realize just how good he's been. I think I've almost discounted him. He's going really high in dynasty startups. And I'm like, but I remember when he was 150 overall, a 3rd round pick. And so I scooped him up everywhere, but I just can't imagine now taking him at 45 overall in a dynasty startup. But I maybe need to start listening to you more and say, you know what, like, he's legit. Like, he almost had 1,000 yards and he only played 14 games, and he's attached to his quarterback who he has tons of chemistry with. And I absolutely love that pick. I just don't have the confidence in myself to make it right now because I already scooped him up in all my leagues last year. But with my next pick, I'm going to go with one of our favorite running backs for the LA Rams, Cam Akers. And I still believe that he's going to be the lead back in that offense. It doesn't mean that he's going to have the Todd Gurley role, but I think he's going to have the lion's share of the carries. He can catch the ball in the backfield. He can pass protect with the best of them. And I think he's going to be a great complement to that offense with Jared Goff, with Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, and the whole team. I really think Sean McVay wouldn't have traded up to get him if he didn't believe that he was the running back to do the job. And even though Darrell Henderson's there, even though Malcolm Brown's there, I'm rolling with Cam Akers.
Love it, man. I've got no further commentary there. I do want to say, to your Terry McLaurin point, I do think you're not the only one, though, man. I think dynasty players, a lot of people still have these preconceived notions, these biases, right? And you still look at him like, he was just a 3rd round pick in rookie drafts. He was going after Darrell Henderson, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, Nicole Hardman. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
makes me sick.
Like, he's completely erased that ADP. And if we redid just 2019, he might be, after A.J. Brown, there might be some people who take him 2nd over DK Metcalf, or at least 3rd. He's not going to go behind N'Keal Harry again. He's not going behind Marquise Brown. He's not going behind J.J. Arcega-Whiteside. So I think we do need to readjust our lens in how we view these players, especially after we've received data. And the best data that we can receive is success at the NFL level, which he did that. So, definitely think we all need to kind of take that into consideration moving forward. But right here at the 208 spot, I'm taking my one lowercase a wide receiver in the 2021 class, and that's Purdue's wide receiver, Rondale Moore. I'm so sick and tired of hearing the negative criticism against Rondale Moore because he is not very tall. I don't care. Marquise Brown isn't tall. Deshaun Jackson isn't tall. He's not a small player by any stretch. He's 5'9", 185, and completely rocked up, stacked, mega producer. He was on his way to dominating the 2019 season before a freak injury versus Minnesota. Horrible quarterback play. And by all accounts, from everything that I heard, he was healthy enough to come back towards the end of the season, but Purdue was so stank, he was just like, why am I even risking? And call that being a bad teammate? I don't give a shit. That's a good business move. Why go out there and risk it for 3 games for a team that stinks? So right here, Rondale Moore, he is the 2nd skill position player out of the 2021 class to go behind Jamar Chase, and I feel really good getting him here towards the back end of the 2nd round.
All right, I love that pick, man. He's going to be dynamite this year. I know there are already reports coming out that he's still squatting 605. He's still benching 450. I think it was 405 or 410, which is that's insane for someone his size. People look at his stature and they can complain about various things, but his talent is just undeniable. But for me here at the 109 or the 209, I'm going to take Rashod Bateman out of Minnesota. He's going to be an absolute monster at the next level. And when you were talking about DK Metcalf, I see the exact same traits from Rashod Bateman, but to me, he's just a better player. And even though you may have to wait a year, Rashod Bateman is going to be dominant at the next level. He's probably the player I trust the most behind Jamar Chase, even though I like Rondale more. I just think Rashod Bateman can win with size. And that's something you just can't teach at the NFL level. He's an alpha in every definition of the word. He's going to dominate, and he could easily walk out of the 2020 season and be the number one player on the board for every single team in the NFL. It's just going to depend on how he plays, how he produces, and what happens. But like we were talking about before, Jamar Chase may just fall out of favor because he doesn't have as good of a season, and Rashod Bateman may be the guy to dethrone him.
I love Rashod Bateman. I mean, for me, 1, 2, and 3 are so very close. I know people want to put Chase on this tier of his own. And I'm not going to knock you if you do. If you have him on the wide receiver 1 island by himself, then I'm not going to knock it. But I think the 1, 2, 3 picks, Bateman, Chase, and Moore, are all very, very close. I do think the guys who have the more prototypical size will probably get the assumed draft capital. But when I see Rondale Moore, I don't comp players unless I feel very good about it. And I've been saying this for a year and a half now. He reminds me of a more explosive version of Steve Smith. And Steve Smith is probably close to a Hall of Fame type wide receiver, if not a Hall of Fame wide receiver. So love the Rashod Bateman pick. I think he's absolutely dynamite, and he is going to show college football world why he's been the best receiver on that team for the past couple of years. So I think stuff is about to get interesting here. At the 110 spot, at the 210 spot. And at this point in time, I am going to take Deebo Samuel, the wide receiver from the San Francisco 49ers. Again, another one of those players where they drafted Brandon Ayuk, but I think they drafted Brandon Ayuk to serve that field stretching role to replace Marquise Goodwin, right? Deebo is the wide receiver 1 behind George Kittle, who is really the wide receiver 1. But the greatest offensive mind in football, not Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, with Deebo not only catching the ball, what he can do after the catch, and then those carries, even if it's just 2. He was the leading rusher for the San Francisco 49ers in the Super Bowl, for Christ's sake. So, talented player. He's a little bit older prospect, but I think right here I feel a lot more comfortable taking Deebo Samuel over my, 4th rated wide receiver in the 2021 class and over a couple of these wide receivers in the 2020 class that I have a tier below, Lamb and Reagor.
Yeah, man, I like that pick a lot. And it just comes down to what happened in the draft. And Deebo Samuel got a vote of confidence from the 49ers. Taking Brandon Ayuk isn't going to do anything to Deebo Samuel. He's still going to own the middle of the field. He's still going to catch his screens. He's still going to get schemed open like Shanny does. And he's the best in the league at doing it. Completely love that pick. At 211, I'm going to have to go with probably the most disrespected player in this draft so far, Jerry Jeudy. I know in our previous Superflex mock, Jerry Jeudy went, I believe, 201. And it really just comes down to talent with Jerry Jeudy. He's just such a talented player. He's one of the best route runners in the 2020 class. He's a dominant receiver. There's only a few things that you can say about Jerry Jeudy that he can't do, but the issue now is who's going to be the alpha? Is it going to be Courtland Sutton or is it going to be Jerry Jeudy? And that's really the only hang up that people are going to have, that I have. And I do believe very much so in Courtland Sutton. Courtland Sutton's a great wide receiver. He was basically a wide receiver 1 this year, and he might have been a wide receiver 1 on a per game basis. And now with Drew Lock loading up, KJ Hamler's going to stretch the field. That's going to open things up for both of those guys. But it just depends on who's the one. And I think here I'm more than happy to take Jerry Jeudy, knowing that I got a few other guys ahead of him. And now I think disrespect needs to stop. Take Jerry Jeudy. He's going to be a really good player at the next level.
Yeah. There's no reason that he is being disrespected. He did land in a crowded offense with a quarterback that we don't know if he's good or bad yet. I don't think that the jury's still out on Drew Lock. I know I'm seeing him go as QB6 in some dynasty startups, which that's crazy. That's asinine to me. We're still trying to figure out if Drew Lock is it. But I do think Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy with Noah Fant and the backfield, they complement each other well. So while I'm not enthralled with the landing spot, I don't think it's just horrible. I think it will give him time to face one-on-one coverage. And if Judy's one-on-one with the defender, I like my chances with Jerry Jeudy. So here at the 212 to round out the second round, I'm going to jump back in the 2021 pool, and I'm taking my top-rated running back, My boy Jordan is from Canada, and this guy's from Canada as well. I'm taking the man from Stillwater, Oklahoma, Chuba Hubbard, nation's leading rusher last year. If there's a college football season, he's going to lead the nation in rushing again. 6'1", 210-pound track speedster, improving as a running back, produced in the backfield with Justice Hill, dominated it last year on his own, catches the ball, runs the ball, return kicks early in his career. He's dynamic, he's big, he's fast, explosive, he's durable. Chuba Hubbard, RB1 2021, rounding out the second round. You got any thoughts on Chuba real quick?
Man, I love that dude. Holy. I'm mad that you took him right there because that was going to be my next pick because Chuba's he's disgusting. There's no other way you can put it. In that offense, his ascension is honestly, it's not mind-blowing to me because you and I have been talking for so long. You got me on the train early. But people didn't know who Chuba Hubbard was, which is crazy. They had no idea who he was, and he just came out, led the nation in rushing. Listen, y'all. Sometimes I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I said it last summer before anybody was talking about Chuba. I was like, this dude is a top 5 running back in the 2020 class. He is a top 5 running back. Now, he didn't come out and didn't declare, but I saw everything that I needed to see during the 2018 season. And I was telling people, grab Chuba. And what did he do? Led the nation in rushing. So quick recap. Second round, 2019, 2020, 2021 combined Superflex PPR mock draft. Daniel Jones, Josh Jacobs, DeAndre Swift, CeeDee Lamb, Jalen Reagor, Terry McLaurin, Cam Akers, Rondale Moore, Rashod Bateman, Deebo Samuel, Jerry Jeudy, and Chuba Hubbard. So right here, we were only going to do 2, but now it gets we're going to go quick, rapid fire through round 3. We'll just kind of hit the players real quick, and if there's anything useful that we need to say, we'll go ahead and say that. But round 3, I'll kick it off, and I'm going to go with my RB2 in the 2021 class, and that is Najee Harris. I'm going the big running back out of the University of Alabama, 3-down threat. He reminds me of a blend of Steven Jackson and Matt Forte. Dynamic out of the backfield. He's a freaking monster running the ball, powerful, elusive, fast, athletic. Najee Harris, RB2 in the 2021 class. Moved him ahead of Travis Etienne. Yeah, I like that pick, but I was sure you were going Travis Etienne. I was so sure, and I was ready to just smack you across the face because that's who I'm going to be taking at 302. Travis Etienne has an explosive ability unlike anyone in college football. As much as we like Chuba Hubbard, yeah. Travis Etienne can absolutely explode the moment he gets the ball. His change of direction, his change of speed, his acceleration is just completely unmatched, and it's just one of those things that you're just not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to touch him at the next level. I don't care if he's in college. I don't care if he's in the NFL. The moment he gets the ball in space, he's going to be breaking arm tackles and he's going to be destroying defenses. Maybe he can't catch. We don't know yet. Maybe he can't. He won't be the best runner between the tackles. But I know that when he gets the ball, he's going to do something with it every time. And in the third round, this is an absolute slam dunk.
Yeah, don't hate it at all. He's my third-ranked running back in the class. And like you said, his 0 to 60 is unmatched. Here at 303, you're talking about disrespect. Listen, this dude was a first-round pick last year. He barely played, and everybody is just like off of this train, and I don't get it. He's going to be the number 1 for Jared Stidham this year, and I'm taking N'Keal Harry, who was a consensus top 3 pick last year in rookie drafts. And again, I know he didn't play. Tom Brady is gone. They've got a 39-and-a-half-year-old Julian Edelman and Mohamed Sanu, a bunch of young tight ends. If it's going to happen, if N'Keal Harry is going to be a thing, it's going to happen, or at least we're going to see the flashes from him this year. I am still a N'Keal Harry fan. 6'4", 225. Give me that guy. I want my N'Keal Harry, and right now people are so down on him, you can go send out some offers and probably get him for the low.
Man, I'm so that was going to be my next pick too, because to your point, N'Keal Harry is just completely disrespected. He was the number 1 wide receiver for everybody, and then he went number 1 overall or he went behind Hollywood actually to the Patriots. Yeah. My favorite team. Like I love N'Keal Harry, but if I'm being honest, if he could just redshirt one more year, And then maybe the Patriots don't do so good. And maybe they get Trevor Lawrence. You never know. Then maybe year 3 he can go off. But as far as N'Keal Harry goes, the talent is just, you see it on tape. It's just crazy. But for my next pick, I'm going to be taking probably the guy that I think is going to have one of the biggest ascensions as far as you talk about rise and fall. Justin Ross out of Clemson. It's amazing how far that dude has fell. Yeah, you don't have to like it. You don't have to like it, but his breakout age, breaking out as a freshman, it ain't a reach. It ain't a reach. He's gonna show you. I know you're a big T. Higgins fan, but I think Justin Ross this year, Dabo Swinney knows what he's doing. He's gonna get Justin Ross the ball, and Justin Ross is gonna show you why he's gonna be a top draft pick this year.
All right. He ran a 4.9 in high school, so hopefully he's...
What did Justin Jefferson run in high school?
Yeah, 4.88. Yeah, I said hopefully he gets faster. Yeah, hopefully he picks it up. He was very unathletic out of high school. Barely jumped 30 inches in the vertical jump. Damn near ran a 5 flat in the 40-yard dash. Hey, we'll see. That Clemson helmet, the pick that you should have made that I would want in a heartbeat with no questions asked at the wide receiver position. Give me Darius Slayton, the wide receiver from the New York Giants, right here, attached to a young quarterback. We talk about investing in wide receivers. If the Giants did draft one, it wasn't one of consequence. Sterling Shepard, we know what his role is. Golden Tate, we know what his role is. Go buy Darius Slayton. This dude is good. He's a good wide receiver playing with a young quarterback. He's got speed. He put those flashes on last year. Darius Slayton here at the 305.
Yeah, no, I like that pick a lot. And he was another guy that I saw. I think it was one catch I saw of Darius Slayton when I was watching his tape. It was this big extension grab. I think it was because he played for Auburn, right? And it was just one play on the sideline. I was like, yup, he's it. He's going to be a thing. I don't care if he's a 5th-round pick. His athleticism is just ridiculous. With my next pick, I'm going to take the rising redshirt sophomore, Trey Lance from North Dakota State. In a Superflex format, I think in a Superflex format, you have to shoot for upside here. You have to shoot for that upside, and Trey Lance gives it to you. Like you said, he can throw the ball. He can shred your ass from the pocket. He can take off and chuck up the do sign, and he can run for a touchdown. Trey Lance, he may not be a thing at the next level, but I think here you have to shoot your shot on a quarterback. And if he ends up going like Carson Wentz and going 2 overall, he's going to be a thing at the next level, and he can do a bit of everything. I really like Trey Lance here.
I like that pick too, man. Good pick. And for a second, but this is what happens. Like sometimes during drafts, you just forget what you're in, right? You get so honed in on your player that you forget like, oh shit, this is Superflex. I need to go grab a quarterback. And now what happens is some league mates might panic because they remembered, and then they'll be like, oh my God, I got to go take Drew Lock right now, or I got to go take Justin Herbert right now. I'm not going to do that because I've collected myself. I'm composed. I'm back on track, and I'm going to dive into the wide receiver pool again. And I'm taking another sophomore that I think is, man, I see a lot of young Antonio Brown in this kid, and I'm taking Deontay Johnson, the wide receiver out of Pittsburgh. Man, I like Juju a lot. Deontay Johnson is a problem. Deontay Johnson is a big-time problem. The yards per route run, his separation, the way he moves reminds me of a young AB. And I'm not saying he's going to develop into Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown is one of the greatest wide receivers ever to play the game. But Deontay Johnson, man, if we went back and redrafted, the 2019 class, I don't think there's any way Deontay Johnson is making it out of the first round. You know what I mean? So I am very much on the Deontay Johnson train. So right here, 307 Deontay Johnson.
It's really funny that you mentioned like honing in and getting your guy, because he's a guy who, even though he's on my list, I overlooked him a little bit. And I remember before you were talking about Terry McLaurin, he's honestly a guy that I think after 2020, if you went back, he could be ahead of Terry McLaurin. Because I think Deontay Johnson really is that talented of a player. And he's going to show it this year. more than anything else. And I think that to your point about the whole AB ascension, I totally see it. And he just has that in his game. For my next pick, though, I'm going to take one of our favorite prospects who's a little bit slept on, I think, compared to consensus for both of our rankings. And that's Keyshawn Vaughn, the running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Obviously, he's a running back. He's attached to a Hall of Fame greatest of all time quarterback. He has two excellent weapons on the outside who are going to stretch the field. He has everything going for him. The only problem for him is he's an older prospect. But beyond that, he played in the SEC for an absolutely anemic team that was terrible. Their offensive line wasn't good, but he still produced. Go check out the tape that we have against LSU. He made Grant Delpit look like a fool. That second-round pick, that should have been the top player in the country. I believe he won best DB in the country. I think both of us still aren't sure why, but regardless, Keyshawn Vaughn can ball, and he's going to win that job in Tampa Bay. And to get him here, he's going to be a producer at the next level. So it's an easy pick for me.
Love it, man. I had zeroed in on him and then kind of passed him up for some. I wanted to get some of these 2019 guys, these receivers. But to get our sixth-ranked running back in this class right here at the back of the third, great value. I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson, wide receiver, Minnesota Vikings. I think before the end of the season, we'll be talking about him as the wide receiver one in Minnesota. Adam Thielen, we know he's a good player. He's aging, wasn't really healthy towards the end of last season with those hamstring issues. First-round pick, Justin Jefferson can win outside, win in the slot. I like him right here at the 309 spot.
Yeah, man, I like that pick a lot. Obviously, he's an excellent player. And he's going to be, I even for me, I thought he was better than Jerry Jeudy personally. I ranked him higher than Jerry Jeudy, and that spot in Minnesota is just absolutely dynamite. So for my next pick, we're getting a little bit deeper now. So let me see. This has got to be the guy, and I'm going to take Alabama wide receiver Jalen Waddle. Obviously now with all the guys leaving, he's going to be the feature receiver. He could easily win the Blitnikoff. It'll just depend on how the quarterbacks shake out. But I think Najee's going to be the engine for that offense. But then outside of that, you have Devonta Smith, who's an excellent wide receiver. Wait a minute. Did you just say he's easily going to win the Blitnikoff? I think he could win the Blitnikoff. Yeah.
Oh.
He's easily. I think he'll easily be in the running for the Blitnikoff. Well, we've mentioned a lot of really talented wide receivers, but I still think he could still be a guy that could win the Blitnikoff. We'll see.
He's got the talent, but Mac.
Yeah, I think the talent's there.
I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, because like even for me, like I look at their tape against Auburn where he scored 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Right, and that was with Mac. That was with
Devonta Smith scored 5 against Ole Miss. I mean,
so it's hard with that team, but I think Jalen Waddle is probably the most talented of the group. And to get him here, he's definitely a pick that I want to make.
I like it. I don't hate it at all. This is my last pick, and I'm struggling because I want to take a quarterback, but who wants to hear me talk about Justin Herbert? So right here at 311, I'm taking another guy who was a first-round pick, top 6 in rookie drafts last year, David Montgomery. I know a lot of people don't like Monty because of whatever, but he's the running back, and he's going to be the running back, and he is the running back, and we need to deal with it. So even if you don't like him, you draft him, you trade him, whatever the case may be, he's a starting running back on an offense that is probably going to run the ball a lot. With Nick Foles and Mitchell Trubisky, they are going to run the ball. So give me the starting running back for an NFL team that's young and talented. So I'll take David Montgomery here at 311.
All right, so I'm going to close this thing out with probably the most controversial pick of all, and I'm going to take the tight end TJ Hawkinson for the Detroit Lions. Obviously, we know all the talented guys that are available right now, but at 312, I have no problem taking Hawkinson. He's a top 10 NFL draft pick. He can block. He can catch. He actually beat out Noah Fant, who people thought was the number 1 tight end in the 2019 class. Little do you know, TJ Hawkinson on the same team sort of came out of nowhere and just blew him out of the water, has the draft capital, should be featured in that offense. And I love TJ Hawkinson as a prospect. And for dynasty owners, you're going to want shares of him for sure because he's going to be an absolute problem. And people compare him. He could be the next Gronk. He could be the next Kelsey. He has all that talent and all those tools in his kit to become that at the next level.
I sure hope so, because it sure looked like Noah Fant was the better tight end last year when you're talking about NFL. The hell with what they did at Iowa. And Noah Fant was my tight end one. For fantasy purposes, I think TJ Hawkinson is a better overall tight end, but I don't care about your blocking. I don't care about any of that shit. Split you out, line up in the slot, and go run routes and catch passes. And I think we saw that from Noah Fant this past season. I know Hawk was hurt, had like concussions and some other stuff. So I've got my fair share of Hawkinson. So I hope you're right. But let's just recap this third round. It went Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, N'Keal Harry, Justin Ross, Darius Slayton, Trey Lance, Deontay Johnson, Keyshawn Vaughn, Justin Jefferson, Jalen Waddle, David Montgomery, and TJ Hawkinson. Just to give you an idea of some of the names that were not picked out of these 36 players that we talked about: T. Higgins, Marquise Brown, Henry Ruggs, Laviska Shenault, Devin Singletary, Brian Edwards, Tamarion Terry, Max Borghi, Michael Pittman, Seth Williams, Denzel Mims, Brandon Ayuk, Noah Fant, Tylan Wallace, Eno Benjamin, McCall Hardman, blah, 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 and a bunch of other tight ends. So we really wanted to give you an idea of what we would do or what to expect in not only a dynasty startup, but a Devy startup when you've got these 2021 guys. And for the most part of the wide receivers, I think there were three wide receivers from the 4 wide receivers from the 2021 class that were drafted amongst 5. Jesus, 5. Oh, 5. Out of 36, there were 5 wide receivers from the 2021 class drafted. It's about right when you're talking about it. You've got your top guys, and then you've got the Rosses and the Waddles, and you could, whether that's Tamarion Terry or Seth Williams, but it just really gives you a good idea. And I think the biggest takeaway is production. When you look at the first round with DK Metcalf and Miles Sanders and A.J. Brown, while I think Jonathan Taylor is a more talented running back than a Miles Sanders, I would be hard-pressed to pick JT before Miles Sanders in a startup, right? Because of proven production. All of this shit looks good. You can have all the pretty names on a piece of paper that you want, but the objective in Dynasty, the objective in fantasy is to score points and give me the guys who have proven that they can succeed at the NFL level over what we hope is going to come to fruition later down the line. I hope you guys enjoyed this exercise. Jay, I appreciate you rocking with us. If you guys have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, make sure you get that done. We've got more heat, more gas, more player breakdowns, more mock drafts. Jordan is going to be kicking off a team preview series here in the next couple of weeks where we will be focusing on each individual team and talking about the fantasy implications of not only the rookies, but some of those veterans, aging veterans, ascending second-year players, all of that stuff. So stay tuned for that. Coming soon to the Destination Devy YouTube channel. We love you. We appreciate you. I'm rambling. We're out.
Peace, guys.